Okay, so Kratom. There's a lot of talk on the internet about Kratom. And Kratom is an all-natural herb, mostly grown in Indonesia. I think you can also get it in Thailand as well. And so I was dealing with some chronic pain at the time. I was given prescriptions for arthritis. I was given Tylenol 3 and codeine, and I went back and forth between the two narcotics. At that time, I noticed a lot of negative side effects with the Tylenol 3 and codeine, so I was looking into alternatives, and I did some research on Kratom. And I saw a woman stating that the Kratom, she'd been taking it for 12 years, and it helps her with her back injury. So I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. And the sinister thing is that when I went online and I started doing research, was I was coming across a lot of content about how Kratom is not addictive, habit forming. And I should have known at the time that it was too good to be true. And what I gathered was a lot of these people weren't very familiar with opiates. A lot of people said that Kratom wasn't an opiate, and I may be technically speaking it's not, but if you look at how it interacts with the dopamine receptors and the opiate receptors in the brain, one could argue is that it's an opiate. So I started taking Kratom, and the first time I took my dose, I was mind blown. It was stronger than codeine. The dopamine euphoria effects was much stronger than codeine. So I also was under the impression that, hey, this isn't addictive. So I thought I found the golden grail, like the nectar of the gods, the best thing ever. So I started using it for about a month. 1 month turned into 2. I was taking, started off with 3 grams in the morning and then 3 grams at nighttime, which might have been too much at that time, but given my previous prescription, it probably was just right. Like, it was enough to allow me to function. I wasn't getting tired. And then I decided to stop taking it. And immediately the next day when I stopped taking it, I started experiencing sweats, chills, diarrhea, all of the exact same symptoms that I experienced when I tried to get off of my prescription opiates. And so that's when I realized that I had been lied to, or not lied to, but misinformed. So if you're thinking about taking Kratom and you're under the impression, you haven't taken it yet, you're under the impression that it's not addictive, it's not an opiate, I'm here to tell you it's just not worth it. Especially if you haven't experienced any opium dependence and you're just looking for an alternative to deal with aches and pains that you may have been dealing with for the past few years. It's not worth it. One of the main things that I experienced when taking Kratom that I didn't experience with Tylenol 3 and codeine was I started getting a huge bloated gut, and a lot of people call it Kratom belly. And that was extreme constipation, like constipation much worse than anything that I've ever experienced while taking codeine. Castration, sex drive. Like, I'd taken codeine, Tylenol 3s for years, and never had issues with my sex drive. Within my first dose, I noticed, because I was in a relationship at that time, I couldn't get rock hard erections anymore. And then a week later, it felt like the connection between my brain and my testicles was just completely cut. And so I was in denial for a very long time. I thought it could have been something else. And then I did more research and found out that Kratom actually raises prolactin. So I started taking supplements that can lower prolactin while simultaneously taking the Kratom. And I'm here to tell you that's not going to work. Now, I know a lot of people that use Kratom say that, oh, they are able to have sex longer and all that stuff, which it's true because your prolactin is higher, so you have less blood flow to the penis during sexual intercourse, which makes it less sensitive. But eventually, after a while of using it, you are going to feel castrated. And I haven't come across a single person who hasn't abused Kratom or used Kratom even, let's say, regularly without abuse, not eventually get these symptoms. So if you're thinking about taking Kratom and you're thinking that it could be the answer to whatever pain that you're feeling, I'm going to advise you not to take it. Now, it's a different story if you're someone who is addicted to fentanyl and your life is literally at stake if you don't stop using fentanyl or heroin or abusing your morphine prescription or Vicodin or whatever. That you're in a completely different category. Me, I was just given 30 milligrams of codeine straight, or 30 milligrams, or Tylenol with 30 milligrams of codeine. I could have just easily gotten a higher dose of codeine. I could have gotten Tylenol 4s, and I would not have experienced the castration, the constipation, the kratom belly anywhere. I would not have experienced symptoms, anything even remotely similar to what I experienced with Kratom. Kratom took me down to a long, long ride of just hell when it came to health issues. I'll probably make another video about my fitness while I was using Kratom. I remember at that time I was powerlifting a lot, and I mean, over a year of consistent workouts, progress, dieting, I was unable to make any significant strength gains. I was unable to put on any real muscle mass until I actually stopped taking the Kratom, and that'll be a whole different topic. This video is already too long, but for any of you that are thinking about it, please, please, unless you're addicted to serious opiates, don't even consider it. You will regret it for the rest of your life.